Hello, and welcome to the VELUX Skylight installation video. We're going to demonstrate the deck-mounted installation method, which has been the world standard for over 65 years. Deck-mounted skylights have the widest range of sizes and accessories available and come in both fixed and fresh air versions. So you want to install a skylight. It may seem like a daunting task, but when you use VELUX skylights and flashing systems, it isn't as hard as you might think. And when you install a VELUX deck-mounted skylight correctly, also known as the no-leak skylight, you can rest easy knowing that it will not leak no matter what. Our deck-mounted skylights come with an industry-first 10-year no-leak installation warranty, no matter who does the installation. Over the course of this video, you will see the various steps required to properly install VELUX skylights. Just follow along and you'll be a pro in no time. You can also refer to the installation literature included with your skylight and online at VELUXUSA.com. Okay, let's get started. The first thing to remember when working with skylights is that not all skylights are created equal. By choosing a quality VELUX skylight, you can be sure that your skylight will stand up to wind, rain, ice, and almost anything else Mother Nature will throw at it. Let's take a closer look. VELUX deck-mounted skylights consist of a quality pre-painted wood frame, an insulated glass lens, and protective aluminum or copper cladding. The skylight is then mounted directly to the roof deck using our patented deck seal and finished up with the appropriate flashing system and adhesive underlayment, providing 3 layers of no-leak protection against the harshest weather conditions. Mortise and tenon joints, similar to those used in furniture construction, are used on the corners to create a solid frame. These joints are glued and pinned to ensure a square frame and to keep corners from separating. To make the installation process easier, the bottom of the wood frame has a drywall groove that can be used for easily aligning 1/2 inch and 5/8 inch finished material with the skylight. A patented deck seal flange is pre-attached to the frame. The deck seal has a durable foam gasket to protect against water that may get under the shingles. It also has pre-drilled holes for quick and easy mounting to the roof deck. Standard VELUX skylights come with a Kynar 500 protective finish that is neutral gray in color, but copper is also available. VELUX skylights have 2 standard glass options: tempered, which provides excellent energy efficiency and thermal performance, and Clean, Quiet, and Safe. Clean, Quiet, and Safe integrates a triple protection laminate that reduces water spotting and loosens organic material on the glass, lessens unwanted noise, and provides extra strength to meet building code regulations. Both are dual-paned, have a low E3 coating, and are injected with argon gas to provide excellent energy efficiency. There are also a variety of energy-efficient specialty glass options available. Impact-resistant and snow-load glass options are available on most deck-mounted skylights. You can find a complete list of glazings on the web at VELUXUSA.com. Okay, before we start with the actual installation, we need to gather some information about the job site. A little bit of pre-planning now will save us a lot of time and effort later on. Always remember to check with local building code officials for any possible code issues. From inside the attic, identify whether the roof is constructed using rafters or trusses. In most cases, trusses cannot be cut, so if your roof is constructed in this way, it's important to pick a skylight size that fits between them. Fortunately, VELUX carries a series of skylights designed specifically for truss applications. Rafters, on the other hand, can be cut as long as they are properly reinforced. Make sure to measure the actual spacing between the rafters or trusses. Unfortunately, sometimes this measurement varies and may have an effect on the size of skylight you can use. Inspect the area inside the attic around the installation site for any obstacles that may be in the way. For example, electrical wires, ductwork, heat exchangers, and roof supports are all potential obstacles. Keep a minimum clearance of 18 inches above and below the skylight and 12 inches on the sides. This applies to any obstacles through the roof or slope changes like valleys, ridges, eaves, and roof-to-wall intersections. If an electric skylight is being installed, plan out the path for routing the wire to a power source. 20 feet of 14-2 wire is included with each electric fresh air skylight. Keep in mind the roofing material used. As we will discuss a little later on, VELUX has flashing options for most roofing materials, but you'll have to know your roofing material in order to pick the right one. When installing a VELUX Deck Mounted Skylight, make sure that your roof pitch is between 14 and 85 degrees. If you are installing on a lower pitched roof, you should create a roof curb to bring the skylight roof pitch up to 14 degrees. Details on creating a roof curb can be found on our website, VELUXUSA.com. Now that we know the job site is clear, it's time to plan our installation, starting with the models, quantity, and sizes of skylights for the job. VELUX Deck Mounted Skylights come in 4 models. The model VSS is a self-contained, solar-powered fresh air skylight that opens with remote control and closes automatically in case of rain. The model VSE is an electric fresh air skylight that also opens with a remote control and closes automatically in case of rain. The model VS is a fresh air skylight that opens with manual controls. And finally, the model FS, a fixed skylight that does not open. A variety of blinds are available for all 4 models and can be factory pre-installed at the time of ordering. As a rule of thumb, VELUX recommends that the daylight area be at least 10% of the floor area. This will provide the best lighting results. If large skylights cannot be installed because you have a truss roof, then you may want to consider using VELUX combi flashing to join several smaller skylights together, providing the daylight levels of a larger skylight with an interesting architectural flair. The variations are endless, so ultimately the size and quantity of skylights being installed will be up to you. Next, you need to pick your flashing type. VELUX offers several flashing options for deck-mounted skylights based on roofing material, quantity, and arrangement. Please keep in mind that all VELUX flashings for deck-mounted skylights should be installed on roofs with a 14 to 85 degree roof pitch. If you are installing a single skylight and the roof covering is shingles or other low-profile roofing materials, VELUX Type EDL step flashing is the way to go. This flashing system interweaves with roofing materials to create a weather-tight seal. For high-profile roofing materials like Spanish tile and corrugated metal roofing, VELUX Type EDW flashing is the best choice. VELUX Type EDM flashing is designed for metal roof applications. This flashing should only be used if the ribs or standing seams are 1.5 inches or less in height. If skylights are being installed together in groups, then VELUX combi flashing should be used. Combi flashing options are also available for shingle roofs and tile roofs. Skylights installed one over another must be spaced 4 inches from frame to frame. Skylights installed side by side can be installed as close as 2.5 inches apart and up to 12 inches apart in half-inch increments. This information must be given at time of ordering. If Type EKW flashing for tile is used, then 4-inch only spacing is used for over-under and side-by-side application. You can find more information about flashing systems on the web at VELUXUSA.com. Before beginning the installation, be sure you have all the tools you will need. The following tools and materials will be needed to complete the installation of your VELUX skylight: a hammer, Phillips head screwdriver, drill, tape measure, flat pry bar, box cutter, level, square, circular saw or reciprocating saw, chalk line, shingles, felt paper or underlayment, staple gun, and nails. And with that, you are ready to begin. With all of our pre-planning out of the way, we are ready to begin the skylight installation. Let's get started by calculating and cutting the rough opening. From inside the attic, locate the 4 corners of the rough opening by measuring the intended installation space and driving nails through the roof deck, making sure that the opening will be square with the roof. These nails should be long enough to mark your installation area on the roof deck. Next, pull the shingles back about 8 to 12 inches from around the rough opening area, leaving the nails marking the 4 corners. With a chalk line or straight edge, mark the 4 sides of the rough opening. Once the area is marked, remove the marking nails and cut the rough opening with a circular saw or reciprocating saw. Cut the existing felt back 4.5 inches on the bottom and sides. Cut the top back 7 inches. Clear the work area of all sawdust and any other debris, leaving a clean surface for the VELUX Adhesive Skylight underlayment, which is included in the EDL flashing kit. Extend the corners of the rough opening about 3 or 4 inches. These lines will be used for centering the skylight over the rough opening. Finally, as needed, cut and head off the rafters to ensure adequate support. Be sure to install supports perpendicular to the roof deck and follow all applicable building codes. That didn't take very long. Now that the rough opening has been cut, the next step is to place the skylight on the roof. If the flashing is going to be installed at the same time as the skylight, it's a good idea to remove the cladding to prevent unnecessary damage. If the flashing will be installed at a later date, the cladding can be left on. In this video, the flashing will be installed at the same time as the skylight, so we'll remove the cladding to prevent damage while working on the roof. Installing the skylight is pretty straightforward. To begin, remove the cladding. Holding the bottom corners of the cladding, pull the sides and bottom away from the skylight as a single U-shaped piece. Prior to placing a solar skylight on the roof, locate the flip switch inside the operator cover and slide it toward the middle. To secure the skylight to the roof deck, simply center the skylight over the opening, aligning the extended rough opening marks with the squared notches in the deck seal, and secure it in place with the nails provided. With the skylight installed, the next step is to wrap it. Proper wrapping keeps wind, rain, and debris from entering the home through any gaps around the skylight. To ensure weather tightness, the skylight needs to be wrapped with the adhesive underlayment, which is supplied with the flashing. This acts as a vapor barrier and helps keep out any moisture that may have gotten under the roofing material to cause condensation. Start at the bottom of the skylight with a piece of adhesive underlayment that extends beyond each corner 6 inches. If a deck-mounted fixed skylight is being installed, stick the top edge of the adhesive underlayment under the bottom rubber gasket as close to the top of the wood skylight frame as possible. Slowly work down the skylight frame. Try to keep out all wrinkles and make a good crease at the transition from the skylight to the roof deck. When wrapping the bottom frame of a solar skylight, be sure to cut the underlayment to fit around the wire lead for the solar panel. Cut the corners by starting at the bottom and cutting up and away from the skylight at a 45-degree angle. Next, secure the top flap to the side of the skylight and the bottom to the roof deck. Follow the same process for installing the adhesive underlayment to the sides and finish with the top of the skylight. At the corners, where there may be small pinholes, you may want to cut small circular patches of adhesive underlayment to cover up any openings. With the skylight wrapped, we're ready to install the flashing. On a shingle roof, you should use the type EDL step flashing for installations involving individual skylights, and type EKL combi flashing for installations involving multiple skylights grouped together. In the following example, you will learn how to install type EDL flashing. Before installing the flashing, be sure that the exterior cladding is removed and the skylight has been wrapped for weather tightness. Then, install a row of roofing material over the bottom edge of the underlayment. Start with a flashing installation by placing the sill flashing at the bottom of the skylight. Make sure the shingles have been installed close enough to the skylight so that the bottom flashing has proper coverage. Then secure it with roofing nails. For fixed skylights, be sure to pull the rubber gasket located at the bottom of the skylight over the sill flashing to allow proper water drainage. Once the sill flashing has been secured, it is time to start interweaving shingles and step pieces up the sides of the skylight. Nail the step pieces to the roof deck according to the instructions. Nail each step piece with 2 nails. The first should be near the edge farthest away from the skylight frame, at least halfway up. The second nail should be near the top edge and about 2/3 from the side of the skylight frame. In many cases, the top step piece will extend past the top side of the skylight. Do not skip this step piece. Cut it to an appropriate length so that it fits below the top edge of the skylight. You're now ready to connect and attach the solar panel. Connect the wire located on the bottom of the skylight to the solar panel, and then attach the panel to the body of the skylight with the 2 screws provided. After the shingles and step pieces have been installed to the top of the skylight on both sides, you can replace the cladding around the skylight. With claddings in place, install the saddle flashing. This should fit over the claddings. Now, secure the claddings to the saddle flashing by turning the tabs back up so that they fit into the slot on the saddle flashing. Bend the tabs over so that they fit into the lowest part of the slot. The next step is to interweave the top flashing with the underlayment that covers the roof deck. If a seam is close to the top of the flashing, you can pull the nails out and slip a piece of underlayment under the seam and over the top flashing. If no seam is available, make a cut in the underlayment just a little wider than the flashing and slip a piece of underlayment under the seam and over the top flashing. This step will divert water that has gotten under the shingles to the top of the flashing and shingles. To finish off your flashing installation, add your roofing material back around the newly installed skylight. Ensure that there is a 2 3/8 to 4-inch gap from the top of the flashing to the bottom of the shingles. This may require trimming the bottom of the shingles as needed. Finally, back in the attic, verify that there is a smooth transition between the skylight sheetrock groove and the framing members. Cut shims as necessary to fill in any gaps. If you are installing a fresh air model skylight, there are a few more points that we need to cover prior to finishing off the light shaft. If you are installing an electric fresh air VELUX model VSE skylight, a single wiring connection needs to be made. This step should be completed by a qualified electrician. A VELUX VSE comes with 20 feet of 14-2 with ground-type NM house wire. This wire must be run to a listed junction box for accessible connection and inspection to the house wiring. The connection should be to a single-phase 120-volt branch circuit. The branch circuit should be a continuous electrical feed protected by a 15-amp circuit breaker or time delay fuse. After the skylight has been secured, you should prepare the control pad for operation. Electric skylights must be connected to building power, and solar skylights must have their power switched on. Electric and solar skylights must be powered in order to register the control pad with the skylight. Remove the battery lid on the back of the control pad by pressing the release button located on the bottom side cover. Insert batteries and reinstall battery cover. Select the language by swiping the languages up or down as needed. Once the correct language is selected, tap the arrow key in the top right corner of the display. Follow the instructions on the display and tap the arrow when ready to proceed to the next screen. If all your skylights and blinds have been detected, tap the arrow to finish the registration process. If the remote does not find all products, tap Search again at the bottom of the display and follow the instructions in the display. At the Control Pad Ready display, tap OK to complete the registration process. The product you can operate is shown in the middle of the display. Select the product you want to operate by swiping your finger left or right over the display. Once you have selected the product to operate, the skylight can be opened or closed by swiping the slider at the bottom of the display to the right for opening or to the left for closing. Pressing the skylight to the left of the slider closes the skylight completely, and pressing the skylight to the right of the slider completely opens the skylight. When the skylight is being operated, it uses the same amount of power as a 60-watt light bulb. Complete documentation of all control pad features and functions are available in the online user manual for Control's KLR200, located on the VELUX USA website. With the skylight installed and operational, all we have left to do is frame the light shaft and finish off the interior. Before framing your light shaft, there are a couple of points that you will want to keep in mind. Be sure to flare the opening of your light shaft. This allows the maximum amount of light into the room. Insulate the light shaft for maximum energy efficiency, and make sure to follow all applicable building codes, especially with light shafts that require structural framing. With the skylight and light shaft in place, all that remains is to finish the interior. The light shaft can be finished with a variety of materials, such as paint, stained wood, or wainscoting. What you use depends on your individual project. For convenience, a finish groove is built into the bottom of the skylight frame. This groove can receive a 1/2 inch or 5/8 inch thick material. The skylight frame comes pre-finished with white paint from the factory. Other than structural limitations, there are very few restrictions to light shaft design besides your imagination. And that's it. We're done. Over the course of this project, we have gone from a dark room with inadequate lighting to a bright, inviting room that everyone can enjoy. Here is a look back at what we have accomplished. First, we prepared the site for the skylight installation. Then we selected our skylight size, quantity, features, and flashings. Next, we measured and cut the rough opening and installed the VELUX Skylight. After that, we wrapped the skylight and installed the VELUX flashing system and solar panel unit. And to finish things off, we framed in and created the light shaft. You can get more information about VELUX products and accessories by visiting the website VELUXUSA.com.